This is Christian Ackerman with Fast Coast Productions. I just went through the Space Lock script. It's not in spiral notebook form anymore, but I put the script in there so I can write notes and all that kind of stuff. Doing another review of it, looking at it, and just thinking movies are a strange thing. From script to actually filming, like during production, to post-production. In post-productions, a lot could change. I see it always in my films. You have to do things, you have to make decisions that help tell the story in your movie, so you feel some kind of resolution or something that feels like a good ending, like a cliffhanger or something like that. When I go through, I guess I have this process and this routine, and it's kind of like, it's fun to know kind of the stages of where you're gonna be, and then I get very excited. I can't wait until I'm actually behind the camera and we're making decisions on like how the angle is, the lighting, and all that kind of stuff, and doing certain angles and looks and run and gun, as they say, or shooting from the hip. The process is fun. It's like I start off like this thing's all beat up. I start writing the script in here. Look at that, I even put a title on there. I've been doing this, I feel like, since I was a kid. I've been writing scripts in here, and I remember taking keyboarding class, that's what they called it, so I could write scripts. Because at the time I had typewriters, and I hated typing with my fingers like this. So I took keyboarding so I could type, and I could just get stories out and make them look good. And so I felt like writing a script made me more legit as a filmmaker, but I would still break away from it or start making a movie without a script. And that's how this movie came along, Space Lock. I started doing the concepts. I made that teaser that we have on our channel, and you should watch it. But it's all concepts, it's all me in the teaser. It was just me shooting by myself in my studio, and I was just trying to see, can I do this? I was just testing out and trying to get excited, because I find like when I make a movie, some people get excited probably just by starting, here with pen and paper or typing. That's their process. My process, I get more excited like if I draw, or sometimes it is I start writing, but mainly when I start filming stuff, that's how I start playing with the clay, the metaphor of molding the clay and coming up with a sculpture, and if a movie was a sculpture, and so that's kind of my process. I kind of start filming first, then writing later. It's crazy, I know, but then I saw this really cool documentary called The Unknown Chaplin. And it's about Charlie Chaplin, my favorite. And Charlie Chaplin did the same thing. Without a script, he would set up people, he'd set up entire sets, and then he would film. And he would direct people behind the camera. That was that way back then. And then that's how they did it, I guess. But then he would change sets, he would change the environment, if it wasn't working, like a rewrite. And then he would change the actors and change the characters and make this guy be the cop now, and the guy that was the groom is now the butler, and he would switch things around, and then he would take his character, the tramp, and have it go through these scenes. It was a really great documentary, and it just blew my mind that it's okay, even the greatest people had their own process. And then I saw another great little interview piece done with the BBC on Gareth Edwards, director who brought us Monsters, who brought us Godzilla, and then he did Star Wars Rogue One, and crazy, life change, right, for him. And he shows his script for Monsters that won tons of awards. It was a great film, very different, did great in the festivals, and then got him where he is now to this day. And he holds up his script, and it looks like this, and it actually looks like this, like there's just like notes and like papers, mismatched papers and drawings and stuff like that. And I remember seeing that, and I've always had people that they call themselves filmmakers and stuff, or they're not filmmakers, but they're good at, they can judge you and label you or whatever, and size you up, right? And they would see my process and they'd always get confused, like, you can't do it that way, you can't make a movie like that. But I think it's so great when you make a movie and it's your film. Like, say you're doing this way, like if you do it, you know, professionally, like when we do our serious pieces, our promotional pieces, I do have to be a little more disciplined just by working with my crew and stuff, and especially with a budget, and which is, you know, pretty easy for me to do. It just comes naturally, because the discipline of that and knowing how the rules work in making films, and, you know, the certain disciplines you have to have, is because I was able to come up with my own processes. And sometimes the process actually will bleed into my professional stuff, and it helps me to stay on the edge and creative and excited and stuff like that. So, and all these things that I've achieved, there's always that one point in my life, and I was just talking to my wife about this, and we were talking, I was saying, like, there's always been those lonely moments, and some of you filmmakers out there, you know what I'm talking about. Right now, if you're hearing me, you know what I'm talking about. I was just telling her that, there's that lonely moment where it's very lonely. You might have all the people helping you and supporting you, but there's that one moment where you just feel alone, and you're like, I don't know if this movie's gonna be good. I mean, I had a blast working on it. I had a fun time doing it. But I don't know if it's gonna be as good. And it's that moment just before you release anything out to the public, before you give it out there so they can look at your baby and, you know, say, yeah, that's really great. To get past that moment is very, very hard and very real, and it's a good thing too. It's healthy, it's organic, because it makes me question, why do I do what I'm doing? Is I just make movies because I like making movies, and that process I do, it always develops and changes just a wee bit. It just changes a little bit, so it's not completely the same. It's different but yet familiar. And I notice too, every time I step out to make a film, my life changes. The people I meet change. I make new friends, and I'm nuts about telling stories. I just love making films. I love the process I have right now, and I love the process that I have to adapt from other people that set it up before me. How this is how you make movies, this is how you edit. I love that too. I love trying to, you know, be inspired by other filmmakers and do things like Spielberg or whatever, like, or other filmmakers or films I see, and try to be like that. But at the same time, I try to be myself and just make cool movies. And I felt like I'm no different than a lot of these Hollywood guys that made it, and they've got the big paychecks and they've been successful. I feel like we're all the same. We're all creative. Like, I could sit down and talk to them and have a conversation about making movies and why we make them. And then the difference is, at the end of the day, is going to be the budget. You know, it's going to totally be the budget. I mean, hands down. But I feel like I can relate and talk to them. And I feel like I can relate and talk to you guys out there that love making movies. Charlie Chaplin, you know, had his process. It's a great documentary. Look up The Unknown Chaplin. I'll try to find a link. What did I say? Gareth Edwards had his process, changed his life. And I feel like I'm just realizing now I have my process, and my process is changing my life. I don't have $1 million, kabillion, gazillion dollars, but I see something happening. I see a ripple effect happening, and I appreciate it. And I thank you guys out there for supporting me and watching my movies. And thank you for listening to me today about the process. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you want to take something or a call to action or whatever you want to, why did you watch this video instead of me just jabbering about the process, is don't let people stop you from creating. If there's a certain process for you to get there, to create something, to make something, to enjoy what you're doing, use that process. Some people listen to loud music while they, paint and stuff like that, or study. Hold your process dear to you, and don't, because other people might do it their way, but that's their way. I mean, your way might be the best way for you to get you where you want to go. It's very philosophical, I know. I've been told I'm very philosophical. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the movies.